Hey, welcome to the Valiant Entrepreneurs podcast. Now, in this week's show, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs, what they are, and what your limiting beliefs are.
But also, we're going to talk about, with those limited beliefs, how do you actually overcome them? Like, what do you do? How do you get over them?
What is a limiting belief? Like, you know, we get so many people that we work with, and you know, we see a lot of common limiting beliefs. Now, we know what they are, but just explain to people listening right now, what is a limiting belief?
Okay, good. So first off, you have to think, what is a belief? A belief is something that you perceive to be true about yourself or the people around you or the world that you live in. For instance, some people believe in God, that's a belief. Some people don't, that's a belief. Some people believe that, you know, all rich people are greedy, that's a belief. Some people that rich people provide jobs, and that's a belief. So there are many of these beliefs, but ultimately a limiting belief is a belief that's got you stuck and it's stopped you growing.
I've never heard of it described like that. Got you stuck and stopped you growing. I've never heard of that. I've always, gone by a limiting belief is, it got you stuck. But a limiting belief is something it's destructive to your path. That's where I've always been with it. But give me an example of some limiting beliefs.
A common one is people saying, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I'm not good enough, right? So I'm not good enough, so I can't do it. I don't believe in myself. I don't have the money, or money's evil. I'm overweight, I'm underweight, I'm too young, I'm too old. Anything that you would say to yourself or tell yourself in a negative can be classed as a limiting belief.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so fucking destructive. Like, it's so destructive. Like, but we all do it, right? Tell me in the comments, like, if you were to, maybe you're super confident, you don't have any limiting beliefs, that's great, right? I'm really uncomfortable in these chairs, right? So tell me in the comments, what would you say is one of your limiting beliefs? Not you, but you in the comments. Tell me in the comments, what would you say is one of your limiting beliefs? Like, what was some of yours?
I'm not good enough is a big one.
Not good enough.
I can't do this. People
Not good
won't
enough
listen to me. Just in business. What were you thinking?
Oh, I don't know.
Why are you smiling?
I'm not good enough. Like, okay, so you're not good enough. And how's that impacted things?
There's a lot of procrastination that comes with that. And it's still, look, I'm not perfect, and that stuff still shows up for me now. Sometimes, can I do this? Is it going to work? They're all limiting beliefs, and it shows up. But now I do feel like I've got more self-awareness to notice when that comes up and handle it and deal with it. But back at the beginning, it's constantly, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. So instead of doing the stuff that I was supposed to be doing, I would distract myself and do things that weren't important. And that's where procrastination comes from. There's a fear, there's a limiting belief.
You've just made a good point now. So we've had some clients recently, right? And they've got this, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, it's hard. So what they do is they distract themselves with non-essential tasks within the business because they still feel like they're still doing something then. Like, so for instance, they'll spend 3 days coming up with a very poorly done logo, right? Because it's not the actual stuff that they have to do in the business, because it's not going to make them any money, is it? Let's be real, right? But they'll spend 3-4 days designing a friggin' shitty logo that you could get AI to do in literally a space of 3 minutes, right? But they do that to distract them from the reality of what they really need to do. Now, in business, we all know business can be tough, right? And sometimes in business, the reason why it's tough is because, you got to just do what you've got to do. Like, so for instance, if you're not generating sales right now, why not confront that head on?
Yeah.
Right? Confront it head on, right? So I know if you're not generating sales right now in your business, right, it's very easy to say, told you it doesn't work. Told you I'm not good enough. It's very easy to go down that rabbit hole, right? Very easily done, okay? But there has to come a point where you where you don't do that and where you actually just do the thing that you don't want to do, right? So what's the thing you don't want to do?
Yeah, you got to face it. You got to deal it.
You got to face it. You've got a book in your office and I noticed it the other day when I was printing something. I noticed it the other day. Face it and fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, face it and fix it, right? And I was reading it the other day, and I thought that's really like I didn't read it, but I looked into it, and it said face it and fix it, and I thought that was I just saw the spine of it, face it and fix it, and I can guess what it's about because all the books you've got are business, right? But it's just true, like you got to face it and fix it. So whatever problems you've got in your life right now, face it, fix it. Now I know you're going to have limiting beliefs that are going to stop you facing it because the limiting belief will actually make you see that no, that's not the problem. It's because you lack confidence.
Yeah.
The problem is not there, but it's because you told you there's no money out there. That's really why nobody's buying anything from you.
But when you say that, okay, there's no money out there, that's why nobody's buying. So as soon as the first time you tell yourself that, then your brain starts working away and it starts looking for the evidence. So it'll start to find all the reasons to back that up.
Yeah.
So all these little moments of somebody saying, oh, I don't have any money, or somebody not being able to pay, your brain goes, there it is again. See, people don't have the money. And I think if you want to change that, you have to start looking at the evidence to go against that.
Do you not think that your brain will give you more of what you feed it?
Yeah.
Like, so if you're feeding it shit, it will give you more shit. If you're feeding it negativity, it will give you more negativity, right? And I just think we need to get into a point where, fine, we all have limiting beliefs. I have limiting beliefs. Yep. You have limiting beliefs, right? Everybody has limiting beliefs, right? So number one, let's face it. We all have limiting beliefs. And now fix it. Do something about it. Because, what other choice have you got? We're in 2025, right? The economy is not in the greatest of places, right? It's not. There's no denying that, okay? But there is an element out there of people that are thriving and people that are striving and people that are dying, right? And I don't mean dying literally. I mean dying in business and financially. You choose which part of that you're in. You can be in either part of that. It doesn't matter, right? But I can guarantee the people that are dying, the people that are not making any money are people that have allowed their limiting beliefs to overcome them. I guarantee it. Because their businesses will be failing, their lives will be going down, everything will be going down because they've got into a state of believing and responding and fueling their limiting beliefs. Now, I know it all sounds great. Stop fueling your limiting beliefs. But the reality is, we're going to move on and talk about what you can do about limiting beliefs in a minute. But the reality is, you've got to first face it, right? And be honest, like, if you're listening to this podcast right now or watching it, whatever, right? Be brutally honest with yourself. Like, if you had to get a bit of paper out, be brutally honest with yourself. And I want you to write down all the limiting beliefs that you feel about yourself. Let's face it first, okay? So write them down. And like, for me, if I had to write some down, right? In business, I'm super confident. Socially, I'm not. Right? So there's a limiting belief is I'm not confident in a social environment. That's one limiting belief. Sometimes I have, self-doubt. Sometimes I have imposter syndrome. I have all these things, right? So I have to write these down. I have to face it. Then I have to ask myself, what's that cost me? So by me having, lack of self-confidence in a social environment, what's that cost me? By me having imposter syndrome sometimes, what's that cost me? What opportunities have I missed out on because I've allowed that to take control of me? Yep. Yeah. So look, just go ahead, write down as many limiting beliefs as you can think of, okay? And it's so important that we understand this, right? Don't hide away from your limiting beliefs, right? Write them down, face it, and then we can do something about it.
Yeah, acknowledge them. Somebody said to me once that truth and honesty sets you free. So what that means is when you just accept something that's there, just notice it, be aware of it. Doesn't mean that you're allowing it to fester and you're going to keep it. It just means that you're just acknowledging what the truth is. That's when you can start changing things. For me right now, so the limiting belief I had in the past was I'm not good with money. So what did I do? I started managing my money, sorting all that out. The belief that I've got right now is the limiting belief, and I know it is that I'm not good with investing. So what am I now doing? Well, got the service accommodation units with my friends. I'm tracking my net worth every single month. I'm going out looking at more viewings, looking to get the new property on. But because I'm working, what did Alex Hormozy say? Outwork your self-doubt.
Yeah.
So the only way I can deal with this is just go through it. Start getting results, start growing it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So what can you do, right? So let's say we got somebody listening to this, right, and they've got confidence issues, right? Confidence, we know, is a massive limiting belief, and it can stop you doing a lot. Like if you've got lack of confidence, right, you're not going to go networking, you're not going to put yourself out there, you're not going to go into estate agents, you're not going to put yourself in an uncomfortable position where that the reward for putting yourself in there might be success or might be an opportunity. So what would you say if you're lacking self-confidence? What can you do to become more confident?
Well, people sit there waiting for more confidence to show up on their lap because they think the longer I wait, the longer I don't do this, they hope that then their confidence levels will go up. Never happens. Never happens. I always say have the courage. Just go, okay, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared about going networking. I'm scared about meeting new people, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to go have a go. And I'm going to get involved. So you do that, and then you get an experience, and that's what gives you the confidence.
Yeah.
It comes from the experience. And you're only going to get the experience if you start. What do you think?
We speak to a lot of people who, in the property space, who you have to make a lot of phone calls to agents and you have to go into agencies, yeah? Now, phone call 1 is not as good as phone call 10. Phone call 10 is not as good as phone call 100, right? But you're not going to go from 0 to 100 because you've got to start with 1, right? So do 1, yeah? Gary Vee says he gets a lot of people go to his media company saying, look, I want you to help me go viral, but I'm nervous on camera. And he says, look, he goes, I can't help you go viral until you've done 1,000 videos. So he goes, do 1,000 videos and then come back to me. He goes, because by the time you've done 1,000 videos, it will be like the 1,000th video will be so much better than video number 1. Version 1 is not as good as version 2. Version 2 is not as good as version 3, right? And if you look back at your first videos, my first interaction on the phones, they were shit.
Yeah.
Right? But you've just got to keep going, right? Because otherwise, don't. But stay in the situation you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change. You've got to want it bad enough where that you're prepared to do something different to make the results happen. So, for instance, if you lack confidence right now in picking up the phone, then pick up the goddamn phone. Maybe you pick up the phone and you role play. Maybe you pick up the phone and just speak to people you don't normally speak to. Maybe you just, if you're in the property game, go out of area. Instead of phoning agents in your area, phone agents at the north of Scotland, right? Doesn't matter. But just pick up the phone and get good at doing that. It's like anything, like, if you're not comfortable swimming, what's the fastest way to fix that?
Yeah.
Get in the water and figure it out. Go into the shallow end and then start gradually getting deeper and deeper. It's simple. Just get on with it.
There are actually courses online which teach you how to swim without ever getting into the pool.
Yeah, I've seen
they
that.
lie on their corridors just doing
Yeah,
this.
I've seen that. I have seen that. That's bizarre.
Don't
do that, right? No, but my point being, right, if you want to get over yourself, if you want to get over confidence issues, start doing things that push you to be more confident.
Yep.
Maybe it's a case of go into a bar and speak to a stranger, right? Go into a bar on a train and just speak to a stranger. And it doesn't have to be a long depth in conversation. It can just be a smile and, hey, how are you? Yeah. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's just something to give you that little bit more confidence. Something.
It'll give you the evidence that you need to start changing that limiting belief. Oh, I'm not confident and stuff. So when you get into those situations, it will start giving you the evidence to show that you are confident and you can do it.
And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You might have a limiting belief within yourself, but other people might not see that, right? So quite often, I've had people come up to me and say, I've got no confidence. And I'm like, really? Because you come across to me as really confident.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not always, I know it's your limiting belief is your limiting belief, it's within you, but just be mindful that quite often, that limiting belief is not seen by the outside world. So therefore, it's just a you problem, right? It doesn't actually impact your day-to-day. You think it does, but it probably doesn't, okay? So just be mindful of that. What about somebody, give me another limiting belief.
Here's a good one. People think that when they become successessel, they'll screw it up, or they'll fail, or they won't be able to handle the responsibility. That kind of stuff.
That's always. I remember once, right? I was running an event, right, and we had several hundred people there, and I asked the question, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Right? We're doing a bit of personal development, we're doing a bit of realization work, okay? And I said, look, imagine yourself in 12 months' time and you've hit your goals, you're making X per month, you've achieved all the goals that you've just written down, right? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Fast forward 12 months, take yourself to that moment. You're living in your luxury house, you're living in this, you're living the life that you want, whatever that may be. And what's the first thought or feeling or emotion that comes to your mind? Right. And I said, all right, who wants to share? And a woman put her hand up. And the thing she said was fear. And I said, okay, and I asked her, what did you write down? What did you write down as what you wanted to achieve? And she said, look, she wanted to be earning, I think it was like £5,000 a month. She wanted to be living in a nice house and all these things, right? And I said, right, so you've 12 months or 24 months or even 3 years, you've hit that. You've got what you wanted, yeah? Because you've worked hard. So what's the emotion? And she said, well, the emotion was fear. I'm like, why fear? Right? And she goes, fear of loss, because everything I've ever done in my life, I've lost. So, and that was really that was quite emotional for her, but also for a lot of people in the room, because, she's gone through her whole life losing things. She would win something, or she'd make something or gain something. 6 months later, she'd lose it, and then she's back to square one. So she had a pattern of, starting a business and it becoming successful, but then losing it. Getting into a relationship, become really great, then losing it. Getting a new job or whatever, and then losing it. And it was a pattern in her life, right? Now, there's a thing known as self-sabotage, right? And self-sabotage can show up when you live in that state of mind. And that state of mind being that you're going to lose everything you win. So therefore, why bother? Right. And we've seen it many, many times in business where, we'll have a client. We've seen it very recently, actually. We've had a client who done really well for a first year or so, and then massively took their foot off the gas. They kind of got a little bit complacent, took their foot off the gas, and ended up literally ruining their business. And they've now gone back to employment and things like that. But my point being is they got kind of, I don't know what happened, but they got to a situation where okay, they're making all this money, their limiting beliefs got involved. In their head, they're going to lose it anyway. So they just said, well, why bother?
Yeah.
Right. So they're still working on their PD and on their limiting belief side of things. But, it can cost you a lot if you're not in control of this stuff.
Here's a question for you. What do you think is a belief that got you to where you are now with the success, but it's now outdated? It's now outdated. And it's not going to help you get to the next level.
Oh, that's a deep question. You're going to have to explain that.
What's the belief that you had that got you to this stage in business? So it helped you, it got you to here, but now that belief is outdated and it's not going to enable you.
It's not strong enough to get me to the next level. You could have warned me about that one. Right? That's a great question. Right. What beliefs did I have that got me to where I'm at today, but they're not particularly going to serve me to the next level? I don't know, really. If I had to really think about that, I don't know.
So I think that's the other thing as well. I think beliefs can help us to a point.
Okay, so thinking about this, right? I always believed I'd be successful financially.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. But to what level, I was unsure of, right? So did I ever believe I'd become, let's say, a millionaire? Yes. But did I ever believe I'd become a multimillionaire? Probably not, right? So I had the belief to get to 7 figures and build 7-figure businesses and 7-figure assets, and I've done that, okay? But to get to 8 figures takes a whole new belief system. And they say the hardest thing is getting from 7 to 8 figures, but then after that it's scalable massively. Yeah, so getting from making £1 million to making £10 million. Right, they say that's a very difficult period because that requires it requires you to be a very different person. So yeah, I believed very much so that I would be a millionaire. I believed very much so that I'd have over £1 million worth of assets and net. I believed very much so that I'd be able to build a £1 million business. But really, I don't know if I had the belief that I'd be like an 8-figure business owner. I don't know. So I've had to develop that belief system But that belief system comes when you see it happen to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm waffling at the minute, but I understand that, right? But like for instance, right, to get to 7-figure, right, either profit in the business or turnover or whatever, to get to where you can sit there and say, I've built a 7-figure asset bank or built a 7-figure business is a difficult thing to do. Like actually, not many businesses will get there. The proportion of businesses that will get there are very, very low, right? But then you have to develop a new belief system to get you from that to 8 figures.
Yeah.
I'm not 8 figures yet,
Yeah.
but I will be, because I believe I will be.
Yeah.
That I truly believe I will be. Does it mean I doubt myself on a daily basis? Yeah, sometimes. Does it mean I wake up some days and sort of say to myself, like, do we have? And does it mean I wake up and question myself? Of course, I fucking question myself, because I ask myself, like, are we good enough? Do we have the right team in place? Do we have the right systems in place? Do we have the right processes in place? So I ask myself this every single day, but I have to fundamentally say to myself, look, why do I want to do what I do? Why do I want to achieve what I achieve? I want to achieve, and am I prepared to do what I have to do in order to get there? Now, once you know why you're doing what you're doing, why you want to do it, and are you prepared to do what you want to do, and actually commit to it. I'm not talking about committing to it 5 out of 10 or even 8 out of 10 or even 9 out of 10. I'm talking about, are you prepared to run through a fucking brick wall for it to happen, right? Most people aren't. Most people say they are, but then they're not, because they have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Right? Now, I am. I'm not going to go into details here, but I've sacrificed way more than most people would sacrifice in order to get to where I'm at, right? And even like now, we're sacrificing stuff on a regular basis, and it becomes super difficult, right? The reason why most people don't hit that like top level of business success is because, quite frankly, they're not prepared to do what we do, and they're not prepared to. They're just not prepared. They're not prepared to put the effort in. They're not prepared to commit. They're not prepared to work and hustle and grind and do what they have to do in order to get what they really desire. They want to get the results working 9 to 5. It's not going to happen. They want to, get the results while still maintaining a social life, while still maintaining a super healthy bank balance, while still maintaining all the luxuries and all the goodies and all the things that they've had in their life that they've maybe got from a job, right? The reality is there comes a point where you have to have delayed gratification, and that means sacrifice now to gain success and down the road. And nobody can deny that I've done that, and I have, because every penny we are making pretty much goes back into back into the business, back into marketing, back into growing, because down the line, that's when the success is going to be massive, and I truly believe that. I truly believe that, but I do question it on a day-to-day basis, because you'd be insane not to.
Yeah, and the question comes when you go into that uncertain territory of places that you haven't been before. Can you remember? You remember your business partner in Vietnam, and we went out for dinner with him.
Yeah,
and we were asking because what.
Vasco,
that was it.
Yeah,
and he had 25 different businesses. I think he was in top 10 richest families in Vietnam.
Yeah.
A great guy. And
Vasco, he's like 50 years old. Him and his family, he's got 4 or 5 brothers, something like that.
Yeah.
Their family is in the top 10 rich list of Vietnamese business owners. They run a huge business. They do a lot of infrastructures. They've got something like 20 odd businesses.
Yeah.
And they've got a business making bottled water. They've got a business doing alcohol. They've got a business doing construction. They've got a business doing chickens. They've got a business, you name it.
They've got it. They've got it.
Yeah.
I remember him saying, because I asked him, the question was something like, what's contributed to your success? And I remember him saying, clear as day, he was like, he said, I've always believed I'm a winner. And he was so clear and he's so cut about it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that is a belief that creates success. If you fundamentally believe in your life that you're a winner, then no matter what, you're always going to be in that position.
A lot of people feel they don't deserve success. And a lot of people deep down, like we know, right? Listen, you'll know watching this, right? We all know there's people in life that are destined to work a job for the rest of their life, right? There's no denying that, right? They'll be in a job for the rest of life because that's what suits them. And I am not for 1 minute being critical of that or judging them because of that.
Some people
right?
want to do that.
Some people want to do that. And do you know what? There's days when I envy you. Trust me, right? Because, there's days when I really wish I just had a well-paid 9 to 5 job, because then I can go home at 5 o'clock and just switch off, right? Because being an entrepreneur, like, dude, you know how stressed I am. You know how stressed I've been. I'm like, I'm close to burnout, right? If I'm not already there, right? And I accept that in order to do great things, I'm going to have to go through that period. I accept that. Doesn't mean I like it. I accept it. I accept it as a cost to, trying to achieve greatness, okay? Now, I had the benefit of speaking to a billionaire recently, and he is a genuinely wealthy billionaire. He is not one of these fake billionaires. He is a billionaire, right? And I had a 45-minute consultation call with him, and he said to me, he goes, he became a billionaire, right? But he had burnout 3 times. And this burnout he had, one of them kept him in his house for 3 months. He didn't phone anybody, didn't speak to anybody for 3 months, right? So burnout is real, right? And in order to, again, if you look at everyone that's achieved like humongous success, and I'm not saying I've achieved humongous success, I'm just saying I'm on a journey to, and I know where I want to go, and where I want to go is humongous success. So I know and I accept that in order to get there, I've got to go through this. I've got to go through the pain on the meantime. Now, you've climbed Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you didn't get all the way to the top, but you got to the second peak, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that like?
Hard.
No. What was it when you were on the peak? What was it like?
Gutted because I didn't get to the peak. There's like a sub-summit and then there's the top bit, and they're both peaks.
Yeah. So you didn't get to the top, but you achieved more than 99% of the world.
Yeah.
Right. So you're on the peak, and you're on the peak. You're looking out to wherever, and what was that feeling like for you?
Well, to be honest, I was crying.
Okay, you were crying, right? this didn't work, right?
Yeah, they checked my they do like your oxygen levels, and then they turned me around.
You were annoyed because you weren't allowed to go to the top, right? But was there a moment where you thought, do you know, this is beautiful? Once you calmed yourself down, like Tom got upset because he wasn't allowed to go any further because his oxygen levels were very low. Okay, his blood levels were very low.
Yeah, and so they turn you around. So I got down. We went back down, and I got like, what the hell? Like, I thought it was wasted. And then actually I got to the next camp where you rest. I thought, do you know what? It's not a waste, because I had this whole journey. So I helped out in this school, did this charity, climbed up this mountain. The weather was incredible. There's like the sunrise coming up. And I thought about all these things and the people I was with. I was like, it was not a waste at all. This was like the best thing.
So would you say you've on that whole experience, you've gained what have you gained from that experience?
It's just that resilience. It's that resilience, and plus the memories and all of that. But it's that resilience of finding out actually what I truly can do.
Yeah.
Because I was ill and stuff, and it's hard, all of that. But being able to push through.
So listen to what he's saying, guys. Right. So he's made lifelong memories. He's achieved something that, let's be real. How many people have climbed Kilimanjaro or even got to the second peak in the world? How many? I bet it's probably not. I bet it's in the tens of thousands. Right. You've done stuff that, like, certainly nobody that I know has done it, right? There's all these benefits you've achieved. Was it fucking easy?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Right? This is the thing, right? People want to get to that, but they're not prepared to go through that.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? And that's the problem I see with people today, right? They want success, but they're not prepared to work for it. And there's only one place that you'll ever see success before work, and that's in the dictionary. Nowhere else. Doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen, right? Unless you absolutely get lucky and you win the lottery, it ain't gonna happen, okay? So you've got to go through the roughness to get to the smoothness. And they say there's no smooth mountain, right? So, if you want to get to the peak of that mountain, you're gonna go through rough parts, you're gonna go through ditches, you're going to go through water, you're going to go through freezing, you're going to go through hot, you're going to go through steep inclines, and jagged edges.
But I think now people even have too much pride to even go and do a job. Because so what a lot of people want, they want passive income and they want freedom, they want all of that. Great. But they're in a position and they're going, right, I don't want to get a job because I want to get passive income. And so they deny the job and they're trying to get whatever stream, whatever asset they're going for, and they turn themselves away from getting a job. And the amount of people I've said to go get an income, just because it's active and you've got to work for it and you've got to give up your time. Okay, that's not ideal if you want freedom for the future, but it's still an income. It's still an income. Like, why? I don't get it.
We had, I was running a webinar a couple of weeks back, and on the webinar, I offer an event to come and spend a day with me for £49. So you come to one of my events, £49. We're both there. We speak and we train about various aspects of property and business. It's £49 to come to. So on this webinar, we basically at the end we offer a £49 ticket. And there was quite a few people on that webinar this particular time, like asking us if we can, like, can we do a payment plan for £49? Right? No, we can't.
No.
Right? And my advice to them is, look, we do get this, right? We get this. People saying, "Oh, I haven't got it, but can I pay half now and half when I arrive?" No. Okay. My advice to them is, look, if you can't afford £49, you can't afford to start a business. So go and get a job. Right? Now, the problem you have here is these people have been bullshitted by everything they read online and see online about passive income, financial freedom, and about how like get rich quick bullshits. Yeah. So they've bought into this whole mindset of, it's easy, anyone can do it, and you don't need any money to get started. And I say to them, look, if you can't afford £49, you're not going to be able to start a business because you can't afford the basics in a business. You can't afford a mobile phone. You can't afford this. You can't afford travel. You can't afford whatever else you need just to run a basic business. Okay? So I say to them, go and get a job. And the biggest obstacle is always, well, I don't want to get a job. I want to get passive income.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what's with that? What is that mindset? I don't understand.
I think they want to. It's that impatience, and they want to skip. And it's a pride thing. No, I don't. No, I don't work in a job. No, I'm a passive income person.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Get a job, mate.
The people who I see are the most successful. They stay focused, but they don't mind where that income comes from, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. And maybe they feel like they have to take a couple of steps backwards in order to move forwards. It's not that they're happy to do that, but they're not reluctant and they're willing to do that.
I remember once, I've always been somebody that likes to move forward and things, yeah? And I remember once you said that to me. You said, look, sometimes you've got to let things go, right, in order to regain clarity and focus. And that's always stuck with me. But I had a mindset of, no, because if I'm letting things go, it means I'm failing, right? And actually it's not. It's about shifting your mindset to say, look, I'm letting that aspect of my life go or that aspect of my business go because that means over here I benefit.
Yep.
And it's about changing the mindset on that. So like mindset, limiting beliefs, it's so important that we understand that aspect of of who you are as a person. Because if you think about it, right, if you look at the character traits of a 9-to-5er, right? The character traits of somebody making 100 grand a year and the character traits of somebody making 7 figures a year. Yeah. The three very different people.
Yep.
Right. And you're going to have to, if you want to become a 7-figure earner, then you're going to have to develop the mindset of you're going to have to develop the mindset of what a 7-figure earner like thinks and acts like. So, ask yourself this. Does a 7-figure earner, do they have limiting beliefs?
100%.
100%, but they know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to deal with here's the thing. If you want to be a 7-figure earner and you've got limiting beliefs and you're ignoring them, then you're not going to be a 7-figure earner, right? You're going to stay 6-figure or 5-figure, right? So until you learn to deal with your limiting beliefs, you're not going to, go up to that next level. It's like myself, right? I know fundamentally I'll become an 8-figure earner, right? So I know that. I absolutely know that. But in order for me to become an 8-figure earner, I have to learn to deal with some of the limiting beliefs that are holding me back from being an 8-figure earner, because I do have some.
Yeah.
So I'm having to work on them. And that means I'm having to, work with therapists, and I'm having to work with people to help me overcome my limiting beliefs on certain aspects, okay? And this is the thing. A lot of people want to become successful, but they really don't want to do the work to become successful. And that includes not just the work physically, but the work up here.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different game.
Yeah.
Very different game.
And personal development can be ugly. It's not always the greatest fun. It's not always standing in front of a mirror and going, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy.
Doing the old David prayer and the old, the affirmations. But hey, listen, I'm going to leave you with this before we get wrapped up for today, right? Earlier on, I asked you to write down your limiting beliefs, yeah? Whatever you wrote down, okay? Maybe you wrote down, I don't know, I've got no money. Maybe you wrote down, I lack confidence. Maybe you wrote down that you're ugly, you're old, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you wrote down, yeah? So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. For the next 7 days, I want you to, every day when you wake up, I want you to go and stand in front of your bathroom mirror, and I want you to, repeat them to yourself. I want you to stand in front of the bathroom mirror, look at the mirror, and I want you to read out all your limiting beliefs. And then I want you to ask this question: how are you going to feel at the end of the week? How are you going to feel at the end of the week? So if you say that to yourself every day for 7 days, how are you going to feel at the end of the week? Well, of course, you're going to feel shit, aren't you? Right? So here's the thing. Why don't we just reposition that? Because words are power, right? So why don't you just reposition that? Instead of saying I have no money, say I have an abundance of money, or I know where money is, or I know I can find money, or I attract money. Yeah. So just reposition it. So take the negative, turn it into a positive, and then stand in front of the mirror and say these 7 things for 7 days. Right? Yeah, fine. You might say it's a bit hooky cookie or whatever. I don't care, right? At the end of the day, if you've got children, you wouldn't allow your children to stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm fat. So don't allow yourself to do it, right? Because what you do by you giving the limiting belief the time of day, what you're doing is you're encouraging it to stay there, right? Stop giving it the time of day. Start dealing with it. Start processing it. And hey, listen, the person that comments the most on this video, I'm going to gift you a ticket to come to our personal development training event called Tell the World. And if you want that ticket, I want you to comment down below in the comments on YouTube. I want you to comment Tell the World. And we will pick one person to come to Tell the World, spend 4 days with us to absolutely crush any limiting beliefs you've got.
Nice.
Is that okay, boss?
100%. That's allowed.
Cool. All right, listen up. Hope you found today useful. Tell me in the comments your biggest limiting belief, what you're going to do to get over it. And if you would like to come to Tell the World, normally we sell this for £3,995. I'm going to gift one person a ticket to that program, complimentary, on us. You do not have to pay. Comment Tell the World down below, and I will pick one person at random when the next event is, and I'll offer you a ticket to that event.
Yeah, and that is a life-changing event. That is massively help if you've got limiting beliefs. So yeah.
All right. Screw the limiting beliefs. See you at Tell the World.